You know, part of being a bit of a hockey nerd is the fact that I always obsess and look through contracts and how they were done. There's so many interesting contracts around the NHL. Like, you look at even Mikko Rantanen, I'm pretty sure he has no trade protection, something like that. Even actually, you could even trade Elias Pettersson. I know this video is about the Oilers, but you could even trade Elias Pettersson because he doesn't even have any trade protection. And one thing that I've been looking at is Evander Kane, because February 28th, 2025, yesterday, whenever you're listening to this, he actually dropped his full no trade protection. So he has a 16 team no trade list. I'm going to be putting it on the screen right now for you guys. That sets it up to be pretty interesting because remember, he gets paid about $5 million. And that this is setting up to be somewhat of an interesting deadline, especially with Elliot Friedman's relatively, surprising comments about him. So Elliot Friedman was talking about the fact that they might exert a little bit of pressure on each side. So I'm not exactly sure what he means by that. It's because he was alluding to the fact that they might want him to kind of sit out so that they can use that LTIR money to essentially get more players. You know how teams essentially cheat without, I mean, it's almost like cheating legally, right? Because if your player's on LTIR and you go into the playoffs and then, wink, wink, magically he's okay. I mean, my personal opinion on it is that I don't really like it. I think that it's kind of like, I mean, it is cheating, right? Because you're literally having a team that can just break the salary cap. I understand Tampa Bay did that. I'm pretty sure the Vegas Golden Knights have done that, where all of a sudden a player is healthy. Anyways, that is an option for the Oilers if Evander Kane is willing to do that, because we are on the preface of whittling down the season. We know the Edmonton Oilers are a really, really good team, although they have been sputtering a little bit lately. Although they are still only 4 points behind the Golden Knights, and I can't imagine that they're probably going to face the LA Kings in the playoffs. So, I think that they should absolutely win that series, but that's just my opinion. Friedman wrote in his 32 Thoughts article, he and the Oilers are navigating his return and whether or not he will play during the regular season. I think that's very important to Kane, getting runway to prove that he can be a factor in the playoffs. Remember, he missed the last 5 games of the Stanley Cup Finals. It sounds like Kane will push to return early. Okay, that's fine, but it would help the team wink wink if he didn't, if you understand what I mean. The article goes on, of course the Oilers would benefit greatly if Kane wasn't medically cleared until the playoffs. It would give them an extra $5 million and change. Yeah, but again, that's cheating. Now, I'm very, very interested to see exactly what the Oilers do. I would love to get them probably a defenseman. My first thing for the Oilers would probably be getting a goaltender. I think that they desperately need one. I think that they should get one. I think it's silly that nobody talks about it. But, even we know that John Gibson is... he's okay with going to the Oilers. I believe he said he would already waive his no trade clause. So that's what I would do first off, but I know a lot of people might disagree with me on that one. Essentially, this boils down to the Oilers. They want essentially a commitment from Evander Kane, which is really shocking to me that this is out in the open like this. That they want a commitment from Evander Kane to say, are you willing to kind of stay out of the lineup? That's essentially what the insiders are hearing right now, and he's not willing to give that. It's hard for players to do that, although we've seen it many, many times. It's hard for some players to do that because you have to understand from Evander Kane's point of view that he wants to get ready for the playoffs. He wants to get revved up. Like, can you imagine how hard it would be to just drop a guy right in the playoffs and say, hey, you got to play out a playoff pace without playing in the regular season at least and get his timing back? That would be really difficult. Also, you could look at this from a different point of view, that it's good that they're going to be getting Evander Kane back, because that could just be like a trade deadline acquisition for them. Like, he's still a pretty decent player, and I think that he has the ability to play a playoff style game, so that could be a huge benefit for them. Interestingly enough, that we have actually more trade rumors about the Edmonton Oilers here, that Oilers reportedly among the teams who have called on Canadians Jake Evans and Joel Armia. Evans is actually pretty interesting to me. He is one that I have pointed to for a while because he's a centerman. He would probably come relatively cheap. What I would do is, if I was looking at improving my center position, I would try to let all the big name centers go first at the trade deadline and then make a move that kind of, it's kind of like a lower tier type move. So something like a Evans, he's pretty good. He can play center. He has an affordable contract. He's been relatively productive. I actually really, really like that they've called on this player. That's just what I think anyway. Adam Henrique and Sam Carrick brought a lot of good things to the Oilers, so maybe they're looking for like a similar type of trade. It kind of makes sense. I really do think that they want that for the Oilers. It's goaltender, defense, and then center. That's always going to be with me. It's always going to be building the team down the middle of the ice is always going to be the most important in my opinion. Now you have to understand that the Oilers have the 7th worst penalty kill in the league. So that is one thing that they're probably looking at. Evans and Armia, they would help there. Like the biggest thing that you have to do is try to improve in the niche areas, because when you go into the playoffs, special teams is so important, right? If you don't have your penalty kill, and this is why I'm so worried about the Maple Leafs, is because their power play is kind of. It's not as good as it should be. Your special teams need to be top tier, because there's always going to be some stupid penalty that's going to be taken that just absolutely buries your team because you couldn't get the proper penalty kill. Is it possible to win a series or two with the 7th worst penalty kill in the league? Yeah, I think it's possible, but I think that you would not want that. Now, a lot of that might have to do with goaltending too. Sometimes it's weird that goaltenders aren't necessarily the best penalty kill goaltenders. Like, some goalies thrive at 5-on-5 more. Some goalies don't thrive as much on the penalty kill. Those are factors as well. But obviously some new personnel there. So I'm glad to see that this trade rumor is happening as well. I would love to see them get Evans. That makes a lot of sense, and they probably wouldn't have to give up too much. Anyways, I am going to leave this video there. If you could like, comment, and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. Make sure to have a great day, guys. Goodbye.